okay, we're just gonna go live this way.
Hmm?
I'm not even gonna sit up there and do the slow thing because I'm in a ranty kind of mood, all right? And today, to keep my rants to a simmering little boil, we have Jensen to monitor me and whack me over the head when I get out of place.
Bad boy, leave them alone. Put those Mexicans down, you weirdo.
We will be getting to that. We will be getting to that. But first, I've got to. I've been meaning to for a long time. I've been meaning to do this for a long freaking time, and I'm gonna get started. Let me know if you can listen to this, there, Jensen. And
That is standard procedure, but not here. Curiously,
this is the Britisher who's
no
a
American
really good
interpreter
guy,
present in face-to-face talks.
but I'm
In short, no witnesses. Now, there's food for thought, right? In a quick aside on all things Russia, we're all seeing a
just
revival
listen
of
to this for a
Stalin
little
in Russia. So, in one of the breakaway
So he's claiming that there's a revivalist of Stalin. Have you seen anything that you would say that Stalin is being revised in Russia at all?
Not at all. It shocked me when I watched his show earlier. So yeah, no.
Okay. To be honest, I can say that there's been some. I've heard some rumblings from people, but we
Russian
don't know.
territories in the Donbass, recently a bronze bust of Stalin went up. But so too has Putin just renamed Volgograd Airport recently to, yes, Stalingrad Airport, and this appeared in the Moscow Underground. Oh yes, the underground Tucker Carlson so admired. This was
So he's taking shots because how dare Tucker Carlson talk to Putin, right?
Hmm.
And they now have, what do you call this, a fresco? Is that what you would call this, or would you call this a full blown statue?
Nah, I'd go with Fresco.
Okay. Of Stalin in the Stalin era, right?
once done away with, but now it's been recreated. Apparently the quality of sculptural work is somewhat lower than the
Oh, okay. Before we even talk about that,
Mhm.
why did Stalin, things about Stalin go away in Russia?
It's actually a good question because he's literally their poster boy for everything, isn't he?
Well,
Or at least he made himself their poster boy for
he
everything.
made himself, so the leaders that came after him were
Mhm.
trying to basically get rid of what happened before, just like he did.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and let's be honest, Stalin was not a nice guy, right? He was pretty much
How
a butchering psychopath.
how can you say that about Uncle Joe?
Yeah, Uncle
Wasn't it
Joe.
your president that gave him that nickname? I'm going to enjoy that. It's one of the few
Leftist
bits of
presidents have
history I
given
know.
the wrong people nicknames for the longest time. I can't deny it. I can't deny it. It's Roosevelt did more damage to the world after his death.
Yeah, I would like it noted. Okay, Winston Churchill hated him from the day one all the way through. He never trusted and never liked the guy. I hate to say it, but it was your president that made him Uncle Joe, i.e., good old Uncle Joe with the funny moustache. You know, it's funny about moustaches. I can think of another guy fairly recently with a funny moustache. Can't think why though.
Two peas in the pod.
original, but
Hmm.
there it is. Monuments to Stalin, honor to Stalin, in Putin's Russia. But Zelensky is the bad guy, honest. And
Once again, making it act like, okay, Zelensky's not a bad guy. Really? Really? You're terrified because they put up a thing in the thing that references Stalin. Okay. Um, the reality is you may not like this, but the reality is Russian history is tied to Stalin. Right?
Funnily enough.
There's no way you're going to get around that. Okay.
No.
And what did Stalin? What you can say a lot of negative things about Stalin, and I will, because he was a murdering psychopath. Right? He was also a paranoid loon. Right? But he was a Russian paranoid loon. Even though he was born in Georgia, he was a Russian paranoid loon. He was the first of the Russian mobsters, what we would think of as Russian mobsters, but he was Georgian, which made him that much worse.
Yeah.
Okay? Which made him that much.
I mean,
Go
I
ahead.
don't want to be offensive here, but you might want to mention that you mean Georgia, Russia, because let's be fair, there are more than a few people that are going to sit there and go, "Oh my God, he was from America," and you know they will.
I can't help it if people are that dumb. Okay. So, but anyway, one of the when it comes to the mobster types, all right, from the Russian oligarchies, the worst ones
Mhm.
have always been the Georgians, because the Georgian mobsters existed during the Soviet Union,
Yeah.
and the fact that you could wield power outside of the state organization and not be part of the state, outside of that during those regimes means something.
Mhm.
Okay, it means that they were very good at being criminals. Okay,
Yeah.
because as the state would do the same thing to you to find information. So the fact that you had people worried, yeah, the Soviet Union Politburo, the KGB might butcher us, but it's not going to be as bad as the Georgian mafia, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut. That's a talent.
It is actually, isn't it? Now you mention it.
And Marga being in cahoots with a chap who celebrates and honours Russia's most notorious communist leader, hey, why not? After all, the party colour of the Republicans is red, right?
Okay. The color of the party is red. Really?
Mhm.
This shows you just how stupid the Britisher is. Okay? The whole thing red blue, right?
Yeah.
You know where that came from?
And again, this is based on assumption alone. But I thought that you guys did it as a reversal to the way the British do things with the red blue.
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The red blue thing came from the media, specifically televised media. All right?
Mm-hmm.
And prior to prior to the 19 70s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody did that, aside from the fact that the color of the Democrats was always considered red because they were aligned with the communists. They were aligned with
Weirdly,
the
makes sense.
anarchists. They were aligned with the leftists. So it was always their color.
Yeah.
Right? But then, of course, as the communists become obviously butchering, murdering thugs, okay, the media was like, well, we don't really necessarily want to associate it that way. And America's colors are red, white, and blue. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
when the media would do, we'd have our national election every 4 years, right? Although we have national elections every 2 years, but the big national election for president every 4 years. The media was would pick colors for if the state went blue or if the state went red. Okay.
Yeah.
Now initially, right, the big three, ABC, CBS, and NBC,
Mm-hmm.
didn't coordinate any of that. So one would have the Republicans represented as blue and the communist Democrats represented as red, right? And another one would have it the opposite. Okay.
Hmm. I can see that being a problem. Yeah.
Now, if you don't understand something of how bad this was in America, that's when we were making comments back in the McCarthy era. Better dead than red. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
So the media got together after the election of Ronald Reagan. Now, notice this is after his election, and then they decided to
Mhm.
determine, okay, from now on, all of us are going to show Republicans in red because we don't want the Democrats associated with the red. And then he goes, "Oh,
Mhm.
Republicans are red." And you can go back and look at YouTube of on YouTube. You can go back and take a look at some of the different networks that were talking about Reagan's, right, the landslide victories, right, and you will
Yeah.
see it from the various different networks where some of the Republicans were basically in blue, right, generally,
Hmm.
right, and I think it was
Okay.
only. I'm not sure which one it was that had the Republicans as red, but it wasn't consistent then. All right, now
Hmm.
all of a sudden this is like that.
It's bleedingly obvious which is the right side to be on here.
Oh,
Let me give
really?
you a hint.
It's bleedingly obvious. Tell me, why is it right? And I'm serious about this, Jensen. Why is it right to
Mhm.
be on Zelensky's side?
Because you've been told to be, and you know it, and I know it.
Okay, I'm just asking a question.
Oh no! That is the answer. We have been told that he is the correct one. We must agree with him, or else.
Okay, now if you want to say things like, well, he was the one, the Ukraine was the one that was invaded. Okay, I'll grant that point. Okay,
Mhm.
but and was the invasion called for? Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Okay, for all of the things that he talks about, one of the things that had been told, that we had been told repeatedly, right, that Putin had agreed to and everything else, was that the Ukraine would never become a member of NATO.
Yes.
And Zelensky made it quite clear he was going to demand NATO membership.
Yeah.
Before he was elected, he started talking about how he wanted NATO membership after he got elected.
Yeah.
Okay? And NATO wasn't saying no.
Mhm.
All right? And the presidents at the time, Bush, right, weren't saying no. And they
Agreed.
should have been.
Yeah.
That's a reality. All right? Biden wasn't saying no. So you kicked off an invasion as a result of that. Now, I'm not saying that Putin's a good guy. Far from it.
Oh no. Oh no.
Okay. But don't come back and tell me that Zelensky's is purely white and driven as a clean driven snow.
Hint, it's not with the guy who's
I've got to,
celebrating
I kind of
Stalin
have to. I'm
and
sorry.
whose critics
Put
all
some- Are
mysteriously
you really
fall
sure
out of
you want
windows.
to mention
But hey, if
pure
Trump is making
white-driven snow and Zelensky? Sniff, sniff, snort, snort, cough, cough. Okay.
that
Are
that
you
was
really sure you
that
want to
was
mention?
an unfortunate parallel.
excuses for him, he must be
Oh,
the
so
good
you're not going
guy.
to try and use
Or,
the
of course,
excuse
we
maybe
just
he had a
settle for the
cold?
excuse of
That
there
I
not
have
being
heard people
any
say
good
that, by the
guys,
way.
and they're all as bad as one another. So it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Let me go replay that again for you, just so like this.
Of there not being any good guys, and they're all as bad as one another. So it doesn't matter.
Correct. It doesn't matter. From an American point of view, strictly from an American point of view, not a European point of view, but from an American point of view, what does it matter to America?
Nothing really.
If Putin is successful and runs over the top of all of the Ukraine,
Hmm.
And I'm not one of these people who don't believe that he's after the entire Ukraine, because he
Yeah.
does. He wants to put the Soviet Union back together again. Okay,
We're getting the band back together, man.
that's
Yeah.
how he looks at it. Now he looks at it as under Russia. Okay,
Hmm.
it's going to be under the Russian flag this time. But
Yeah.
he wants to put what was the Soviet Union, all the little areas, all the different ethnic areas, directly under the control of Russia once more.
Yeah.
Okay, and the reason he's using Stalin as a mm, hero, for lack of a better term, mythological hero,
Hmm.
right, is twofold. Right. First of all, is the fact that he was, in the minds of the Russians, the most successful monarch, all right, in modern times
Yes.
for them. Okay, you can argue about this, but he was the one who defeated Hitler in their minds.
Yeah.
This is
Oh
how
yeah.
they look at this. All right, the expansion of Russia took place, the greatest expansion took place under his auspices. All right, and the second thing is, he's not technically Russian.
Yeah.
So by claiming he's Russian, you subsume these other ethnic groups as Russian, not whatever their ethnic identity that they are.
Yes.
Okay? And so that's the reason Putin is doing it. It's not the reason of, oh, he wants, it's all communism and the Comintern. Putin doesn't want a rise of the Comintern. He wants the rise of Russia.
Yes.
But that little nuance apparently is
But I'm
something that
just
escapes
saying,
him.
one side is putting up monuments to Stalin. It happens to be the invading side, the side that has kidnapped thousands of kids, which has a list of war crimes to its name in this war as long as you're on.
And the other side doesn't. Zelensky's side doesn't have a list of war crimes the size of your arm? Really?
Yeah. Well, we don't talk about bad things that the people we like
Look,
do.
okay, let's talk about some things here. Let's be honest, Jensen. Right? I'm not pro Russia per se. All right? And if
Yeah.
I really want to give you my opinion of what's going on over there, if it was up to me, we'd feed both sides and bloody the hell out of them. Okay?
Weirdly, I'm okay with that. but
Okay,
yeah.
I would just make sure I would make sure all of them are just being fed to the freaking meat grinder.
Hmm.
Okay? Why? Because neither one of them are truly our allies. Now, I feel for the people who are in in the meat grinder itself, right?
Yeah.
But from an American point of view, a weak Russia, all right, with a weak Ukraine is to our benefit worldwide.
Yes.
Am I missing something?
No, dude. I agree with you, but then again, I'm also the one that likes the idea of Pax Britannia and Pax America again. Okay, just reminding you that little point. All right.
Well, apparently this guy,
But hey,
British, just,
according to Tucker, they have great supermarkets. So next, the Donald went
that's
to...
not what Tucker Carlson said. Okay. Tucker Carlson was pushing back on the idea that the sanctions were working and that the Russian
Yep.
supermarkets were running out of things. Tell me, have the Russians run out of food yet?
Not that I know of. You'd think that something would have been mentioned, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So here's this the jerk talking about this, but about a point that's Tucker was making that was 100% accurate, wasn't it? Was real news too tough
Yeah.
for you, Britisher? Oh, seriously, was it too hard to actually look at the truth or the honesty of the thing?
Arabia. To be more precise, he visited Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. It was a presidential diplomatic trade delegation of sorts.
Yeah.
Well, he went there after his sons had toured the area regarding real estate deals in all three countries. Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. It's all Trump. The only reason Trump's going there is for real estate deals, right? The fact that he's gotten commitments from all these countries to reinvest within the United States,
Mm-hmm.
minor issue,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just ignore that. No, it was all about him trying to enrich his sons and his family.
Trump real estate deals. Oh,
But there was no connection whatsoever with the prior president and his sons and I don't know our involvement in the Ukraine.
Just forget about that's the
It's-
past. My God, that happened 30 seconds ago.
I love how
You
this
just keep
smug
going back
asshole
past.
sits up there and stands up there talking about, oh, look how you evil bad Trump. You are as Trump deranged, all right, as some of the freaking Democrats that you see, like Jasmine Crockett, right?
Ouch. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've seen some videos of that doyum of the Congress, okay?
Like
All right.
I said, ouch.
And what's worse is all the things that you see here where she's doing that, snapping her fingers. How dare you? I'm a empowered black woman, right? All of that is an act for her because she was raised in a rich family, went to prep schools, and before this act has gotten her publicity, you couldn't tell her when she was speaking from her patterns whether she was black, white, or anything else unless you saw her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was always proper English, proper standing, and everything else. Now she acts like she's from the hood, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the British.
And one of the countries is doing a deal involving his cryptocurrency. You know, the one he launched about a day before taking office.
I don't know anything about it. I really don't know anything about it.
He doesn't, all right, because it's all about, this whole cryptocurrency thing was a look. All cryptocurrency, Jensen, is a scam.
Yeah.
It's all been a scam. Okay, the ones who are most effective at it are in two places: the Ukraine and Russia. And for all this, there's only one good guy here, and that's Zelensky. Well, then why hasn't Zelensky opened up the network, his internet network, for us to track the Ukrainian malware people?
You know why, and I know why.
But I'm a big crypto fan, I will tell you. I've been that from the beginning, right from the campaign.
Oh, of course, he knew nothing about it. Trump has pulled this trick several times by now, not knowing when confronted with something that's awkward. But he's involved in this cryptocurrency, and this is a $2 billion deal involving said currency, and he knows nothing about it. Yeah, right. Oh, and then he was presented a Boeing 747 by Qatar. Well,
okay, that is a lie. They are giving the United States that plane. They're not giving it to Trump. Okay?
Yeah.
And Trump would like to have a luxurious plane to fly around in. I'm not going to say he has said I would like to have this as Air Force One, right? He said that.
Yeah.
It's not going to be.
No.
Okay? Everybody knows it's not going to be. Trump was stating something that he knows he's not going to get.
Yes.
He was talking about, basically he was bragging about how this is more luxurious than the current Air Force One. That's all he was saying. And this plane isn't going to replace Air Force One. You know why?
Go on.
Because it's going to have to be stripped down. All of the electronics are going to be removed. All the other things are going to be removed from it so they can put in the other things that you need in Air Force One.
Funnily enough, makes sense.
Okay, not the least of which is, let's be perfectly frank, if Trump had attempted to try and utilize this thing with nobody around, right? Let's be honest, the
Mhm.
Qataris probably have more bugs placed inside of there, right? More listening
Oh yeah,
devices, all right, than you could shake a stick at,
yeah.
all right? Nobody's stupid here, except for, oh, this is what Trump is going to do.
Officially, it's being given to the US Department of Defense to be used as Air Force One, but it's been announced that it will be transferred to the Trump Presidential Library shortly before his term is up. Yes, his library.
It'll be transferred to his library, really? That was a suggestion, by the way, by somebody off the cuff that made that comment. It's not going to be part of his library. What are you going to do? Although, I'll be honest with you, having it parked as the library off somewhere, like off an interstate somewhere, would be awesome.
Actually, that would, wouldn't it?
It would be just great having it parked offside, like the interstate in Florida somewhere, where people can go there. That's the Trump library, and go in there and utilize it as a library. That would be just phenomenal.
That actually
And does
would
that
be
mean
kind
it's
of
going to be
cool.
used as a bookshelf?
You have a point
Well,
there.
hardly. Come on, we all know what it means. It will be for his personal use once he's left office. Yes,
No, it won't. Okay, I guarantee you it won't. And I'll guarantee it to you for two reasons. Okay. First of all, after he leaves office, he will be how old?
I don't know. Probably he's got to be like in coming up to his 80s, isn't he?
Yeah, oh, he's already in his 80s.
Oh, is it? Oh, there we go. Okay.
So he would be, and don't get me wrong, he's going to, continue on for as long as possible after he goes this.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I don't think that Trump will live much longer after he leaves office.
No.
Okay, and there's two reasons for that. There's two reasons I'm saying that. It's mainly because of his age, all right, and the fact that he's president at that age. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's one thing to be
Well,
president like when you're Obama. Go ahead.
oh, what I was going to say is, funny enough, you mentioned Obama. If you actually look at Obama when he first went in as president, and then you take a look at a picture of him when he left, Jesus Christ, that guy gained about 40 years in 8 years.
Yes.
I'm impressed.
Yes. The office ages you. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's when he was young, relatively.
Yeah.
He's still younger than Trump is, let's be honest. Okay?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So was Carter. Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter
Yeah.
was relatively young. All right. Hey, Oz.
Yes,
Mm-hmm. Okay. You all right, mate?
I'm good. No, you?
All right. We are on stream, so you have been warned.
Right, gotcha.
Okay.
So we're just bitching about the British right now.
Oh, yes. Actually, if I may, I've got a little point about that. Nomad. Did you ever actually stream with him? Because you, at one point, it was Ogre and the Britisher,
No,
and then
I have never directly.
okay.
I have never directly talked to the Britisher.
Oh, okay. I have. Weird. All right.
Right.
Only once, but I have actually spoken to him.
No, I would love to have
Obviously,
spoken with him. All right.
Oh,
Because
God, that's
one of the
right there.
obviously one of the things that I have a disagreement with is Ogre is an American. He's an unapologetic American. Okay, I'm not going to
Yes.
deny that, and I like that about Ogre, of course, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the Britishers' view of Ogre being quote unquote an accurate representation of American conservatives, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ogre was not an American conservative. Okay, he was not. He was.
Okay.
I mean, if you listen to him, obviously he's pro-American, which is fine, right? And I like
Yeah.
to do that. But a lot of his thought processes and so forth were how do how do I put this? Youth infused. It was like I was talking to a teenager all the time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, he has claimed, at least the last thing I knew of, so this may have changed, I want that part noted. He has claimed that he's an anarcho-capitalist.
Right, more of a libertarian.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, and I
That's
loved
the
Ogre, and I loved Ogre's
electric
wife.
chair.
Loved Ogre's wife as well. As far as talking to them and streaming with them, all right, I had no problems with
Mhm.
them, all right. But to say that
Yeah.
he was a quote unquote conservative, a representative of American conservatism as an average conservative of American thought, no, he wasn't. Okay.
Okay.
For one thing, he wasn't a philosophical guy. Okay.
Yes.
And in order to be a conservative, you got to have a huge philosophical bent. Okay.
Okay.
And you've got to be able to think beyond things. Okay. You got to
Mhm.
ask. You got to be able to ask questions. Why? I remember one time I was talking to Ogre. That's obviously we got way sidetracked here, but since you wanted to bring him up, one time
Mhm.
Ogre they were on a stream. This is how I got introduced to Ogres. I was listening to them talk about American uh, intelligence services, right? And
Uh-huh.
capabilities of why what we would be doing things within there. And I asked them to let me on the stream. If you want to talk to somebody who has intelligence experience within the military, it's yours truly. And I'm not trying to beat my own drum here or blow my own horn.
No, no.
All right.
I mean, it was literally your job at one point.
Yes.
Exactly.
For a fairly significant portion of my life.
Mhm.
And so I went into this, and he goes, well, why would they do something like? And he gave me. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but he's like, why would somebody do that? I said, okay, why wouldn't they? Why do you think they would do it? And he gave me some, the cartoonish, simplified, you know, answer, right? And I was like,
Mhm.
well, what if you're trying to do this with the enemy? And he was like, oh yeah, yeah. You don't do things that are necessarily upfront with the enemy, okay?
No.
And so that's one of the things that I think a lot of these people, when they talk about things and how these things have developed over time and where what you're looking at, okay, they fail
Yeah.
to understand this. All right. One of the problems with intelligence, and this is an endemic problem of all intelligence services, regardless of where they are or when they are, or
Mhm.
who they work for. They're always producing things, all right, that they know.
Yes.
If there's a blind spot, it only becomes obvious when that blind spot is exposed. Normally, when people are
Yes.
killed that they didn't expect. Okay? That's all intelligence services.
Yeah.
All right? That's the reality of them. So as technology expands, this created a lot of, I'll be honest with you, it created a lot of technological holes. All right? Because
Mhm.
as the intelligence services exploit the new technology itself, it puts in programs that inevitably create blind spots for itself that it doesn't recognize. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I don't I don't want to be very specific here for a variety of reasons. Going to jail is one of them. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But you create blind spots for things. Technology is a wonderful tool and it can aid you in a lot of ways. All right.
Yes.
But you can also become so reliant upon it and so used to it that you miss other aspects of what's going on. But
Yeah.
unless you know that those holes exist, unless you've experienced those holes, okay, you don't understand it to the enough to know, okay, here's where we made mistakes. Until the mistakes become obvious and everybody knows you made a mistake. Right?
Yeah.
And then of course they blame everybody. All right. But anyway, back to the Britisher.
$400 million plane. Now, about it being used
So
as Air
what
Force
exactly
One,
is the British
Air Force
done to,
One is actually a very highly
yeah.
specialised plane. Specialised
I'm not trying to be snarky or anything. I literally have no context.
That's okay.
communications and security built in. It must cost
back, eat
fortunes.
popcorn.
Whereas this is effectively an Arab sheikh's airborne shag palace, meaning it's very luxurious, as in very vulgar and brash, meaning it's right down Trump Street.
Now, if this was before Trump was president, he's 100% accurate. Garishness is an aspect of Trump. Okay? Trump loved being in the spotlight. He does love it. Okay?
Yes.
It is a part of who he is. Has always been. All right? As a brash New Yorker, it's always about that presentation. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
To the point, okay, you may not know this, to the point where he patented, okay, the paint that he was using for his plane. Did you know that? Prior to being president?
No, I did not.
He literally patented the paint job, the type of paint that he was using, the golden Trump paint. He patented that.
Wow.
Okay.
I honestly didn't know Trump had any patents. I just thought he simply owned businesses.
Well, copyright, I should say, not patent, but copyright, same thing.
Yeah.
Right? He copyrighted it.
Yeah.
And when a famous radio host wanted to use that paint, all right, for his small little, he was just given like a Gulfstream, but he wanted to use that paint with his name on it, right?
Yeah.
To use for what he called his. Rush Limbaugh, when he was alive, when he was doing his radio show, would talk about how he's behind the golden microphone. Okay, and he literally had a microphone painted gold, right? That he would do this, and he wanted to put a golden microphone logo on his Gulfstream. Okay. So he was going to use the golden paint that Trump uses, because obviously this is paint that does well on planes, right? Doesn't wear off and everything else, right? So he went to do it, and he was told he can't use it because it's been copyrighted by Trump.
I'm sorry, but I've just got the mental image now of like another random plane just flying with this same color pattern, and they just get a cease and desist via SAM missile.
That's what I was thinking.
Well,
we're sending an F-22 to explain why you can't do this.
In this case, when he was told by this, he, of course, being the media mogul that he was, and this is all prior to Trump being elected, folks. All right.
Yeah.
The first time. This is all before Trump was elected, because obviously Rush Limbaugh died quite a while ago.
Yeah.
He literally knew Trump, called up Trump, and said, "Hey, why won't you let me use your paint?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" And he explained it to him, and he goes, "Well, what do you want to use the paint for?" And he told him that he was going to put on. He goes, "Oh yeah, you can go ahead and go. I give you permission." Right? He just didn't want it to affect the Trump brand. All right.
Makes sense.
So the whole thing though exemplifies exactly the kind of posh kind of detail that the garishness, all right, that the Britisher was actually talking about, because it is true that is something Trump would love to have.
But let's be clear, it's a $400 million gift. Oh, he won't officially own it. No, but that means he won't pay for the running and servicing of it. But he'll have use of it. His own personal jumbo.
He won't have use of it. It's not going to be used. You already said that.
Mhm.
Okay? You already said it.
Yeah.
And likely using it for a bit as Air Force One, even though it can't do the job of Air Force One because it's only a flying hotel, will increase its cachet. Trump will in retirement be able to brag that he uses the plane that formerly was Air.
No, he won't. Okay? And doing the job of Air Force One, all right, is okay. This whole Air Force One thing, when did it start? Do you know? Do you remember?
Go on.
They want the old Air Force One. They wanted to replace, so they let the contract. This is under the Obama administration, right, for a new Air Force One. Okay.
Okay.
Like everything else that a defense contractor gets, once you get the contract, it's amazing how the cost just keeps rising over time. Okay?
Yeah.
Like every government contract ever let, okay, gets more and more expensive over time. All right? So Boeing was behind schedule and over budget because the plane that they were doing, it had ballooned to $2 billion for the plane. Okay?
Mhm.
$2 billion. And
Mhm.
Trump, when Trump came in, he was like, "What the hell is this? Why is it taking so long?" And it was way behind. It was years
Yeah.
behind now, right? It's like, why is it taking so long? What's going on here, right? Well, I'll be honest with you, they were slow walking it, right?
Mhm.
And when you slow walk things, what happens is something called mission creep. For people who don't understand, when
Yeah.
things aren't actually delivered in a reasonable time frame, what happens is then technology moves, and then other people say, well, what if we can do this, and what if we can add that, and what if I can do this? Okay.
Yeah.
What if we do this? And especially with military equipment, because when it comes to military stuff, they want your jackknife, they want your K-bar to do everything.
Mhm.
Okay, they don't
Mhm.
want it just to be a knife. No, it's got to be a knife and a compass, and it's going to have string for protect, to re-sew yourself up. Oh, and it's going to have parachute cords for creating a tent for yourself. That's what they
Oh
do.
yeah.
Okay, and with electronics, I can I can tell you there were projects that I was working on that, oh my God, they started off as something simple, and 4 years later were just absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to be real blunt with you. It's amazing we have UAVs that fly. Okay? Because the UAV
Mhm.
program, they just kept adding and adding and adding to it. Okay?
Yeah.
You just don't know what they did to that. And what happened eventually, right, was the project manager, all right, started
Yeah.
taking heat for it, and so he froze everything. But of course, not being a technical person, the way he froze it was
Yeah.
in the worst way. It was in the worst way possible. Okay,
Oh God. Mhm.
and so they had they were using a camera system, all right, because of how he froze it. They were using a
Yeah.
camera system from the 1960s. Literally.
Wow.
Okay.
Mm.
And
Oh boy.
this is what got him fired, by the way. One of the guys said, "I've had enough of trying to deal with this old bullshit technology," because the 1960s,
Mm.
you got to understand, the 1960s was when you changed in the solid state from tubes.
Yeah.
Okay. For those who don't remember the days of television when televisions ran on tubes, right? There's advantages to tubes, okay, but not in a UAV
No.
because of the size.
You got to remember, Nomad, you are talking to two people who don't look at, ancient technology quite the same way you do.
Yeah. I have an
Okay,
appreciation
just
for its uses. All right. I've also got a good idea of its limitations as well. All right. So
yeah.
basically, they took a system that had been done like I said, the 1960s, and one of the guys on his own put in his own video camcorder for the recording
Mm-hmm.
portion of it, and they were flying it when the project manager came in. The project manager came in and said, "Oh, you got the camera fixed." And the guy said, "Well,
Oh.
not really, because this is just using my my old recorder." And the guy went ballistic when it solved at the time. It solved all the problems that they were having, right? But because he wasn't using the 1960s camera, the guy tried to bury this dude. And so when the upper echelon found out about it, he goes, "He solved the problem. We can have this out now." Well, yeah, we could have had it out, but this guy stopped it, so they fired him for it because he basically was dragging the project down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's then they finally released the Predator. All right, for those who
You've
don't
got to
know.
love the organisation of these people sometimes, don't you?
It was amazing. Some of the stuff that went on. So back to the British.
Air Force One. That's aside from the crypto deals and the property development deals.
For some
The
reason,
corruption
there
is
doesn't
just
sound
blatant.
coming out on my end.
It was literally a corruption tour
But our involvement in Ukraine, U.S. involvement in Ukraine isn't a corruption tour?
Mm.
Huh, Britisher?
Just,
Yorkie, it's because it's set up so as it goes out on YouTube, we won't actually get to hear it. Okay, mate?
Gotcha.
Just sorry about that. So, anyway.
of the Middle East. It wasn't even hidden, because his critics can by now not possibly think less of him, and his supporters will excuse anything no matter what he does.
Well, like
because
you're
in
doing
reality,
right now.
they just don't care. They themselves have become corrupted. By him.
Whoa. We've become corrupted? Show me the actual deals that were done for his family ahead of time. You don't have any evidence of it. You know that his son, who is not part of the government and is not listed as one of his advisors, by the way, all right, making deals in the Middle East, all right, and for which Trump has not been doing. You're going to claim that that's the only reason that they're making these other massive deals with the American public, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just so that that his son can sit up there and do some of this other stuff, because he's involved in all of it, and yet you stand there complaining about the Ukraine and don't bother mentioning how corrupt Biden was and how under the thumb Biden was from the Ukraine and China, and you call it, "Oh, you're corrupt." Does the words "go F yourself" mean anything?
Because that's what you are if you excuse corruption. Corrupt. Just a tiny bone.
Can we go back and see all the times he was mentioning how Biden was corrupt and that the only reason we were in the Ukraine was that during the Biden administration? Can you show me that, Britisher? Can you show that to me? Am I wrong?
You said it earlier, mate. Trump derangement syndrome. He's got his own version.
What did the new Syrian strongman suggest when visiting?
Wait. There's a new Syrian strongman that came to power under what? Trump? Oh, no. That was under Biden. Right? Am I missing something?
No.
Okay. Just putting it out there.
Trump Tower in Damascus. You want to be on side with America?
Fair.
Just propose something that might flatter, or better still, enrich Trump.
Really? So, in other words, if the only way to get on side of America is to basically propose something to Trump that's going to enrich him, huh?
And it doesn't
Funny.
matter if maybe you're a bit on the dodgy side. After all, who's kept the Hamas leadership in clover in recent years? Oh, that
Oh, who's kept the Hamas in clover? Oh, it's
would
Trump?
be Qatar. The people who just gave Trump his jump.
Oh, it had nothing to do with the UN and the EU. All right, and their constant voting for supposed aid. All right, under the UN auspices. UNRWA what has no place to play in this. Oh no, it's Qatar. It's Qatar that's keeping the Hamas in. Right? It wasn't Biden handing over billions in quote-unquote humanitarian aid directly to the Palestinians prior to the October 7th bombing or attack, rather? No. It was the Qataris only. I'm not excusing the Qataris. But if you're going to complain about who's funding Hamas, start looking on your hands, Britisher.
Mm-hmm.
Qatar is considered an American ally, but it is also an ally.
Okay. Qatar has been considered an ally. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But it is not. It's not a. How do I put this? It's not a faithful ally.
Yeah.
Okay. It hasn't been for decades.
Yeah.
Right.
Is
Just
it
like
one of those, like,
just like Kuwait.
allies of convenience things.
Yeah. Kinda.
Okay. What are the Qataris? Why are they quote unquote allied with America? Okay. Would you like to know why they are an ally of America? What does Qatar have in the region that's very important?
Don't say oil. Don't say oil. He gets upset when you mention oil.
It's not oil, but it's closely related.
Yeah.
Okay. It's natural gas.
Yeah.
All right. They have oil too. Do not misunderstand. Okay. But who needs natural gas?
Pretty much everyone. Let's be blunt here.
Okay. But who needs it from Qatar? It
Go
isn't
on.
the United States. We have our own natural gas reserves.
Yeah, I agree. So it'd be Europe.
Yes! Amazing, huh?
Yeah.
I'm amazing about that. I'm not going to talk anything about the fact that you got rid of all your power, your nuclear power, and replaced it with natural gas plants. And by the way, that natural gas, has Germany cut the spigot with Russia yet?
Oh, you mean that was a sensible question? Oh.
You know, you're going to bitch about the United States. What have you done to cause the Europeans, you know, Britisher and your worthwhile allies in Europe to wean the Europeans away from Putin? All right, as you browbeat, oh, it's all Trump and Putin because Trump's a Putin lover.
Of Iran and China
No,
and even
no,
Hamas.
no.
Oh,
We're doing our best
Trump's
to
going
get
to take
the
a
Green
$400
New
million
Deal
jet
working.
from people
Come
he would
on.
expel from Columbia
We are
University.
really getting that
Oh,
going.
You're gonna love this one, MC. Apparently, Britain recently closed down its like last coal powered whatever it was, and
Okay.
we've got an estimated like 180 billion tons of coal beneath our feet, and we're not allowed to mine it for environmental reasons. So we're just importing it from across the world.
Yeah. Though what you're going to find is that companies from around the world that are not English will be allowed to actually mine it at some point, because I can see it happening quite soon.
Well,
can't you?
welcome to America. We have more
Yeah.
oil under American lands, all right, than we know what to do,
Mhm.
and we're not allowed to drill
Yeah.
for it. All right, it's just that ridiculous. When people talk
Yeah.
about America, wanting oil around the world, we don't want oil around the world because we don't need it. We really don't.
No.
We could drill our own oil. We have our oil reserves are larger than any other nation in the world. It literally is. We just don't drill here. All right. Why?
Okay.
Because the environmental rules. Right. Oh, we got to stop that. Oh, environmental this, environmental that. That's what made America. And this goes all the way back to the 70s, by the way. Remember the
Yeah.
whole oil. I don't know if you guys remember this time because it was probably before your time. But around 1973, in that time frame, you started with this whole gas oil crisis, right?
I'm sorry, but MC, my dad was born in '72.
Okay, so you don't remember this, but I do. Okay. Right, and
I love it when he does this, by the way, everyone. It's so funny.
okay, it really became like in 1978. I think it reached its peak, right? Where OPEC, the OPEC world, was basically cutting off the spigots for oil in America, and America was importing so much oil. But the only reason we were importing oil is because these same freaking idiots, and Congress got to remember, up until the 1980s, okay, from about 1950 to really 1992, all right, and really 1994, I think is where it changed. All right, the American Congress, complete Congress, was completely dominated, both houses, by the Democrats. And when I mean dominated, I mean dominated.
I'm not
Okay?
shocked.
You did not have a Republican majority in Congress, all right? And even under the first administration under Reagan, only for the first 2 years when he was elected in the 1980s did you have the Senate was temporarily. You had a small majority of Republicans in the Senate that were there. The big changeover in
Hey,
Congress,
Disney.
the big changeover in Congress came about in the Clinton administration. Okay, and that's because people had got two things had happened. All right, one was you had the rise of a charismatic and well-spoken Speaker of the someone who becomes Speaker of the House in Newt Gingrich, right? Now Newt Gingrich had been like a history professor and a few other things, so he spoke well of himself and in other things, okay, and so he nationalized the election, but at the same time, and this is what made the real big issue. You had a check writing scandal that the Democrats had abused the banking system for the congressional checks. They would just write checks whether they had the money in it or not, right, in their banks, okay, and just floated bad checks left and right, knowing that they would be covered by the rest of Congress with both because they were part of Congress. They just voted themselves, You know, they're just voting themselves part of the treasury, right?
Hey guys.
Hey, TC.
Hey, mate.
Hey.
So this is.
I
so,
just.
go
Oh,
ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, I just wanted to just point out one thing, and this is not a go at you, Nimbo. This is more a go at the environmentalists. It's rather ironic that you can't drill for oil on your own now because of all the environmental rules, and you got leftists burning Teslas to the ground. Just put it
Yeah.
out there. Just put it out there.
It is some classic logic right there, isn't it?
I know, right?
And also, like a decade ago, those same hippies wouldn't shut the fuck up about electric cars until Elon,
Yeah.
decided,
Indeed.
said that he
Well,
isn't.
Elon was their massive hero until right?
Mm-hmm.
Until he joined Trump, and then he became the enemy of. He's another Hitler accolade. He might as well have been Borman or what was the other guy's name? Who
I
controlled
just want to remind you that Trump was also their hero until he went up against Hitlery. So,
you know, I mean, it's just, you're not
I'm
wrong.
never changing
yeah.
that.
You're not
that
wrong.
name stays forever.
None
Right.
of this matters because principle doesn't matter.
Oh, do not. Okay, so he goes. None of this matters because principles don't matter. Show me it matters to you, Britisher. Seriously, show me principles matter to you.
Yeah.
All right, you're going to talk about whinge on about principles don't matter. When do they ever matter to anybody on the left? Tell me what principle that the left ever follows. All right, tell me the principled stance that Biden took. Tell me the principled stance that the Europeans are taking now.
I believe Biden's principles were.
You take that back, Yorkie. That was a lot more logical than half the crap he said.
I'm sorry. Well, it's the thing when it came to Biden. They talk about principles. One of the biggest problems that the press has right now with the coming to terms with their support of Biden, right, is the fact that they still refuse, all right, the real boogeyman in the room, right, and they refuse to recognize it, right, and the recognition is all the Democrats in Congress, all the people in Biden's cabinet, all the people that they were going to, all right, to get quote unquote, what's for us to sit up there and find out what's really going on within the Biden administration. All those people, you had all those people, and it became glaringly obvious, all right, that all those people were putting their own principles, all right, or their own views ahead of the principle of doing what's best for the country, putting the country ahead of their own interests. You can't point to one Biden cabinet member, all right, that was putting the principle of I'm going to put the country ahead of my own personal service within the Biden administration. Because if you had, you would have called for the 25th Amendment to be applied to Biden.
Yes.
People, if you want to know how bad Biden was, Biden couldn't remember the names of his cabinet members he was seeing almost on a daily basis. He was calling them by the wrong names and everything. Didn't even remember who they were.
Oh, wow.
And they all knew it. They all knew it. And not one of them has been asked by the press, how come you didn't put America before your own personal interests in serving in the Biden administration? How come you didn't? One of these people is grabbing those former people, including the Obama officials that also served, right? None of them are calling them up and say, "Did you see this in Biden before?" And why not?
Mhm.
He was doing this daily. When did he become senile? Is now the question, right?
Yeah.
And do you see the press actually trying to find that answer out? Do you
Nope.
see them doing a
course not.
study to find out? Okay, wait a minute here. No, of course not.
Gentlemen, I'm going to have to duck out. You guys have fun. I'll speak to you all later.
All right,
Bye-bye.
later, Jensen.
Take care, lad.
Okay, Jensen, bye now.
Also, MC, from what I remember before the dementia kicked in, he wasn't seen as some senile old twat. He was seen as an absolute fucking creep
Well,
because of, back when he was like the vice president for Obama. There were countless pictures and videos of him like sniffing girls' heads and all that stuff.
Oh
and
yeah,
countless
yeah.
reports of him trying to, grow up female staff members.
Well, he's also on the take from deals that his sons were making with being appointed to Burisma. All right, a Ukrainian oil firm when he never was part of the oil. He was a paid board member, getting $50,000 right a month to sit on the board of Burisma. I think it was $50,000 a month.
Wow.
I think the best paying job I ever had was £21,000 a year.
and
And I had to work for that. I had to work my ass
Right.
off in night shifts in a factory.
Right.
all right, and yet his son. All right, apparently the Britisher doesn't even see anything about that. Okay, let's get on to this next story here, since we're moving off the Britisher finally. Severed fingers and wrench attacks rattle crypto elite. From Padri, screams echoed down a narrow street in a trendy neighborhood here early Tuesday. Help, help, help! 3 men in black masks jumped a 34-year-old woman whose father runs Paynamium. I don't know what the hell that is. A French cryptocurrency exchange. Brandishing canisters of mace and what looked like a gun. How about brandishing a gun?
Hey, Sixer.
Hello.
Obviously,
Thought
Well-
I'd just drop in to make MC's nightmare even more worse than it already is.
Hey.
3 more Brits.
Oh no! That's
Hey.
fine. You're more than welcome. All right. So
Proceed.
the masked man attempted to force the woman and her toddler into an idling white van disguised as a delivery truck, but her husband threw himself between his family and the attackers, while a neighbor hustled their child away. All right, let go of me! The woman yelled as assailants bludgeoned her husband. His head seen splattered with blood in videos taken from nearby buildings, with other neighbors closing in and shopkeepers ready to throw a fire extinguisher as the would-be abductors jumped into their van and sped off. The brazen attack was the latest in a wave of violent abductions around the world, including several in the United States, targeting crypto executives and their families. Victims have been pistol whipped, abducted, and in 2 cases, fingers severed. They call these wrench attacks, all right? Because they often rely upon simple tools for inflicting pain to coerce victims rather than sophisticated tools of hacking. Okay, so it's okay to hack. These guys are stealing money. But if you wire up the testicles to a generator, there's a no-no, huh?
Indeed.
The criminals, these are simple criminals, Look, cryptocurrency, for those who don't know, all right, is, and basically what they do is they hold these people hostage until they basically get, the family members get held hostage until these guys cough up the money,
Yep.
and that's where it's at. And look, the world isn't friendly. It makes me laugh
No.
when people thought that they were, right? That, oh no, these things. But what gets me is, What trendy neighborhood has narrow streets? I mean, am I missing something here? Do you equate narrow streets with posh living?
No. No.
I'm just thinking. In London, if you have a narrow street in London, it's normally not one of the big London mansions that people talk about,
No.
right?
Well,
No.
in London, it's not just the narrow streets are not safe; it's the open streets as well. So come on.
Indeed. Well, it's the
all
narrow.
streets are not safe.
It's the narrow streets that was one of the major contributions to the Great Fire of London, for Christ's sakes.
And get ready for the second one.
All right, let's get on to the next story here. Palm Springs, an invertal, an IVF clinic, I cannot pronounce this. Invertal fertilization clinic. All right. Bomber ID'd as a Guy Edwards Bartkus, a pro-mortalist who opposed people being born without their consent.
What is a mortalist?
What? What?
This is an American bomber. They call this guy a terrorist.
Oh, for God's
Okay.
sakes.
This just
For
happens.
Christ's sakes.
No, it's serious in that he killed somebody with his bomb. He bombed a in vitro fertilization clinic. A 25-year-old self-described poor mortalist was identified as the attacker who detonated a car bomb outside a fertility clinic in
this has
Palm
made my head
Springs
even
on
worse.
Saturday. All right, killing himself and injuring 4 other people, according to sources. All right, Guy Edward Bartkus of 29 Palms is believed to have detonated an explosive device in his car outside the American Reproductive Centers, which performs IVF treatments, egg collections, and other procedures. Sperm collection. Other procedures. It's okay to say egg collections, apparently, but not sperm collection. He's
So
allegedly
he was born without his consent, then, was he?
he allegedly described his fanatical pro-death beliefs in a written and recorded manifesto as being against bringing people into the world without their consent to spare them from future suffering.
Okay, I've got to ask. How do you get consent from your balls?
He's a fucking twat. That's why.
The only good thing about this is he ended his own life with it.
It's a natural selection, mate. for
Okay,
him.
that's the only thing is he's no longer a danger to anyone else. That's the only good thing about this story, right?
The only person he's a danger to is himself. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Also, how do you set up a car bomb and the only person you kill is yourself?
it's like a snack bar.
A snack bar. Now I want a snack bar.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure I can
Hey,
hear
Alan, give me my snack bar.
pretty sure I can hear Bobby Sands spinning in his grave.
you know, I mean, you asked, I had to answer, right? Let's go on to the next story of the day. Coming to a brain near you, a tiny computer. So they're going to start threatening people. A high-stakes technology race is playing out in the human brain. Brain-computer interfaces are letting people with paralysis control computers and communicate their needs, and will soon enable them to manipulate prosthetic limbs without moving a muscle. The year ahead is pivotal for companies behind this technology. One of these will this week. Apple has announced its intention to allow these implants to control iPhones and other products. Go ahead.
Somebody's getting on your nerves at work. You just look at the phone and just immediately have it bring up their fucking their internet history.
God. Oh no. Oh God.
Such a bad idea.
I know, right?
So basically,
It's almost as bad as AI. So,
they're gonna. No, it's worse than AI. Right? This is. They're literally going to control people's brains with this. Is literally what you're going to end
Yeah.
up, because you're saying you could hack
Yeah.
somebody's brain. Because
Indeed.
if you hack this
They also haven't
device,
watched, they also haven't watched that film called Upgrade. Anyone seen that?
Hmm.
Where the
Well-
guy had a chip put in his neck.
No.
Yeah, and but eventually there was an AI that eventually took control of him, just to
Oh,
the point
God.
where completely he had complete control of his body, where
Right.
he was locked him out completely. He was just a
Right.
passenger.
well, yeah, I
Do you
think that
remember
it's going to
the
be
film
worse
called
than that.
Scanners?
Yeah, well,
Do you remember the film called Scanners?
yes,
Sorry.
Scanners
But that had
is.
nothing to do with technology.
Well, no,
All I
that
remember
was.
about Scanner is someone's head exploding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I'm calling it now. In the next decade or two, it's going to get to the point where, like, halfway through your fucking sleep cycle, you're going to get an unskippable ad.
Yes.
it's not just that.
Close
though.
your eyes, you get an unwanted ad for Viagra.
You know?
Oh, God.
Well, but listen, if you can control these things the way that they're talking about right now, where it's talking
have
about
bios?
having a
Here we
neural
go.
interface to limbs and so forth, right? Then what's to prevent them from doing a neural interface to your eyes, right? And basically giving you images of things that aren't there.
Yep.
All right. And let's be honest, if you're doing something like that, you can make people do anything you want, just by giving them the appropriate images that
Mirror technology there.
you know. Well, that's what I mean. They're going to hack people's brains with this stuff.
This person failed to resume from sleep mode.
Well, that's
You're
the other
still
thing.
asleep while your body's
There's
doing
things you
something
could
else.
do that would be positive. For example, if with this technology, it'd be great to have this technology where you just downloaded knowledge into your brain.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. There's not a kid in the school that wouldn't love to go. Look, just give me the knowledge, and I'll deal with it. What it else it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The Matrix. Yeah.
You know, I mean, that who would who wouldn't love that? Who wouldn't love to go? Okay, I can be as smart as Einstein, fully understand Einstein's equations because this downloads it into my brain. You know, overnight when you sleep.
Everyone just starts reading through documents like fucking Johnny Five.
Yep.
Oh,
Yes.
inputs.
Exactly. All right. Let's get up.
Johnny wants some more inputs.
Okay. On to the next story.
Mhm.
Sailors hang suspended in the air on Mexican Navy's vessel mast after ship smashed into Brooklyn Bridge. Mexican sailors were seen dangling from a Navy training vessel's main mast moments after the ship smashed into the Brooklyn Bridge. The sailors had been standing atop the... I cannot pronounce the name of the ship because it's Cuauhtémoc. All right, so 150-foot mast in the lead up to the ship sinking the iconic structure on Saturday as part of a traditional greeting. The massive Navy vessel, reportedly carried nearly 300 passengers, hit the iconic New York Bridge, triggering a colossal rescue response and leaving 2 dead and dozens more severely injured. Multiple eyewitnesses videos. The towering masts are seen snapping and partially collapsing as they crashed onto the bridge's deck. Sailors perched high above are thrown into chaos, with some seen clinging to shattered beams high up in the air. Bystander Sydney Nidal and Lily Katz told the AP that they were sitting outside watching the sunset when they saw the vessel strike the bridge and one of its masts snap. Looking closer, they noticed someone hanging from on high on the ship. We saw somebody dangling. Well, I guess if you hit a bridge when you're standing on the mast, I guess it's a traditional feature of masted ships that when you're coming into port you stand on the mast or something as a sign of
it's a bit of a relief because just with the title, first I thought it meant like people getting fucking lynched on the boats.
It sounded like to me that it was in Mexico, so I thought, oh god, it gang.
Well,
gang
first of all, I didn't
abusing or
know
something.
Mexico had a navy.
Yeah, the desert navy.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
Right.
not anymore. They just fucking crashed it.
I mean,
That's why they don't have navies.
and why a sailing ship? Just now we do the same thing. We have a ship that we actually used to use, the USS Constitution. We used to sail, the midshipmen used to sail it around. The Academy cadets in their final year used to go on a sail where they literally sailed the ship everywhere. So I assume it's something traditional like that. Now they said that this is a tradition known as manning the yards, which is a long-standing maritime custom practiced worldwide. Never knew that. Okay, now I'm not a Navy person, but standing on those yards, and you see you're headed for the bridge. I can tell you right now, most Americans would be like, "Hey!" before you actually hit the bridge, and they'd be jumping off.
Get the hell down. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just pointing this out. They wouldn't be. Americans have some stupid rules, but we're not disciplined enough to go, you know what? This guy's going to ram me into a bridge. I'll just stand here and take it. Just pointing that out. Okay? You got to give the Mexicans some credit here because they maintain their naval discipline. Okay. Meanwhile, in America, more than 2,000 Starbucks baristas go on strike to protest the new dress code. A strike by Starbucks baristas protesting the company's new dress code grew Thursday. More than 2,000 Starbucks baristas at 120 U.S. stores have gone on strike since Sunday to protest the new dress code, according to Starbucks Workers United, a union representing the coffee giant's U.S. workers. Okay. This has been going on since Thursday.
Chocolate.
Okay. Nobody noticed here.
Nice of them.
Okay, I'm just pointing this out. If you're striking for Starbucks, who
Nobody
noticed?
cares.
Exactly.
No, yeah, exactly. Nobody cares. Yeah,
Nobody
yeah.
cares. I get my own coffee at home. Thank you very much.
Indeed.
Got some one of those sachets of lattes if I fancy a latte. Pod machines. Hey, there you go. What we do about pod machines?
If you protested and said, "Okay, we're going to protest Starbucks," okay, and I can see them doing it. I don't care. But you would think the U.S. media.
Nobody fucking cares.
Well, but you would think that the U.S. media would be all about this because they're so heavily pro-union, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't even reported on the main news cycles, right? And the reason for it is there's so many coffee places in the country nowadays.
Oh,
If Starbucks closed down, they'd be like, "Okay, I'll go over here." They don't care. It's like you said, they don't care. Nobody cares about the plight.
Exactly.
So there's more coffee shops in America than there is barber shops in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, well, yeah. Look, we drink coffee,
and they're not there for cutting hair either.
No, we drink coffee. Yeah. I'll be honest with you. We drink coffee. Coffee is a big part of who we are. Okay, thanks to our revolution.
And Joe Biden, yeah.
No. We were heavy coffee drinkers long before Joe.
America were coffee drinkers a long time before Joe Biden came along.
Yes. Right.
A long time.
You look at him and you think he's lived that long enough to see it.
It's one of the few things that one of the few traditions that actually dates back to, it literally dates back to the Revolutionary War.
Right.
You know, and the whole Tea Party and everything, where if you were considered a tea drinker,
when you Philistine dumped all those precious tea in those stocks. You could at least put some milk and sugar in it while you're at it as well. Come on.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't throw a few microwaves in there for good measure. Yeah, heathens.
Okay,
That should be nice.
you call us
Yeah.
heathens about the way we drink tea, and what's interesting is
Oh.
drinking tea was only ever really a thing in America,
Hmm,
um,
hmm.
in the South, and the way they drank it
Right.
was sweet tea, right?
Right, yeah.
Sun brewed sweet tea is how they drink it. They did not drink it
Sure.
with milk. Nobody drinks it with milk.
Right.
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 I can tell you that right now. We were like, when I
Mm.
found out that you actually put milk in tea, I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
It's
I mean,
it's a traditional
I'm
way.
interested. I'm interested to know. I mean, just for humour's sake, what the hell is this dress code they're protesting?
It looks like a Black Lives Matter sort of fist I saw there.
The thing is they made them wear collared shirts.
Oh, right.
Wait,
Collared
what?
shirts.
Yeah.
Collared shirts.
And you couldn't
Collared
wear like tie dye clothes
T-shirts.
and stuff. It had to
Oh,
be
right.
like dark
So
black.
basically, they had to look reasonable,
Oh,
respectful to the
God.
customers.
Correct.
looking like they're supposed to. They're not looking like twats.
Right. They gave them 2 free black T-shirts, right, as part of the code.
Hmm.
So
Dress code.
yeah, they didn't want them to look like that was a type of uniform, and they were like, no, you can't do that
Didn't
to
have
us.
the T-shirts of colour.
Yeah.
More degeneracy.
Of all the problems in all the world, sorry.
Back to the
Dress
degenerates.
codes are there for a reason.
Suspect found with tool inside of a display shed
What?
in
Okay.
Georgia. Right, a
Okay.
66-year-old
What?
Georgia man was arrested Sunday for obscenity after police discovered him pleasuring himself inside a display shed at a Lowe's home improvement store in Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
I got you. He was playing with his tool in the shed.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Cops responded to
Oh.
the
He
Slidell
wasn't taking the
business.
sharpest tool either, was he?
The cops responded to the Slidell business after getting a 911 call that a naked man was inside one of the small sheds being offered for sale. After examining several sheds, you couldn't hear the guys, right? An officer discovered
No.
Calvanis
You wanna make sure
lying
it's the
on
right
his
one
back
before he
on the
buys.
floor of one unit with his
You wanna make
pants
sure-
at his ankles, an open bottle of Vaseline at his side. Oh my god!
Oh, no. Okay, that's the tone of this stream going right downhill.
Yeah. Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh my god!
Okay. I've got
The
nothing.
Jasper,
I've got
right?
nothing.
Either.
Pol-
I can't think of any which come back on that one. It's gone.
No,
like
no,
Oh,
no.
it gets
a
it.
picture
Well,
You'll love this next aspect. All right, the
I can't
police
find the story,
listed.
He's not the sharpest tool. That's about it.
I think he's got his comeback. That's the thing.
Police listed Kavanaugh's residence as Jasper, a Georgia city about 60 miles from Atlanta. The Jasper address is known in public records for Kavanaugh's is a 1-acre property containing a small mobile home. Oddly, the county property assessor's website includes 3 photos of the site, but the images, like the one above, only show a small storage shed.
Hold on.
Oh,
You mean tell me he drove 60 miles just to pleasure himself inside a tool shed?
No. He drove further than that because it was in Louisiana. He drove all the way to Louisiana. That's like
Just
2 states away.
Just to do that.
I like how they took a picture of the shed as if it was a fucking eyewitness.
It's terrible what happened. Oh God, he's going to do terrible what he did. He got his tool out.
I'm heading to the whole tool shed, hun.
Well, I don't think more makes you think he's actually got someone. It's probably why he's got a tool shed.
Oh my gosh. You can't make these stories up. You really can't. They write them. There's just too many degenerates in this country.
No, get rid of that bloody page. Get rid of that bloody garbage on there over here. BB fucking C. What is wrong with you,
Oh,
MC?
that's the next story. That'll be coming up in just a minute here. Let's get on to it since we're here. The Israeli forces besiege Gaza hospital from the BBC as Hamas offers truce terms. Really? All right, Hamas is looking for truce. Really? Does anybody believe that?
No.
All right.
No.
Israeli forces have besieged a hospital in northern Gaza as they continue an offensive to seize territory in the Strip, the Hamas-run health ministry said. Oh yeah, there's a reliable source.
Oh, there's a truthful man if we ever saw one.
Medical staff and
supposedly killed.
patients at the Indonesian hotel in Bet Leah, all right, came under heavy fire, preventing the arrival of patients, medical staff, and supplies, the ministry said on Sunday. Now,
you mean hostages, troops, and guns? Let's get that right.
We know that the hospitals have been used to, I don't know, house the headquarters of Hamas. I mean,
well, the tunnels were underneath them, weren't they?
I can't understand why the hospital would be targeted.
Can't imagine why.
Nothing against anybody.
We keep throwing missiles on, but for some reason they keep throwing it back at us. I don't know why.
Can you remember what I put in the chat there yesterday that you didn't read?
I probably missed it. So what did you put in the chat?
Every time you say Gaza Strip, I want to add club to it.
Well, that would I'll admit that would make them go wild. I'll give you that.
That was a good one.
But let's be honest. If you the problem is that until the Palestinians understand that you can't support Hamas, right? This shit's going to continue. Okay.
Hey, Shirati.
Hello, Shirati.
Shirati.
This shit's going to continue. There's no other way that you're going to deal with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
deal with what now?
We're talking about the Hamas people in the Gaza Strip. If you don't want people dying in the Middle East, specifically in the Gaza Strip with the Palestinians, then the Palestinians have to come to the understanding that you can't support Hamas, and you've got to get rid of them right now. Whether people want to admit this or not, is you know how terrible this looks, right? With the Israelis, and they're constantly talking about how many Palestinians are being killed, right? With all that going on, the Palestinians still would rather take those deaths, mourn their dead, than get rid of Hamas. And Hamas was busy butchering their people at the same rate. It just wasn't being reported. They still fear Hamas more than they fear the Israelis. What does that tell you? Do they want peace? No, go ahead. Go ahead, Sixer. If they
Go
want...
ahead, Sixer.
No, I'm funny. Sorry, I just said a well-trained sheep. That's what you got.
I'm not trying to belittle anybody here, but when this is the problem you have in the Middle East, their culture is a culture that has a 12th century mentality, and they are still unwilling to give that culture up to maintain that mentality. And I'm not talking about becoming Christian or ditching Islam or anything else. No, they want to stay back with that backwards mentality, all right, of the 12th century, right, where you just butcher people whenever you think that's what needs to happen. And they have no personal accountability. Oh, look at the things that are happening to me, poor me. Well, what have you done to get yourself out of that situation? Well, I voted for Hamas. Hamas is in power in the Gaza Strip because the Palestinians voted Hamas in power.
When was that, and how long ago was that?
You know, it was
And
10,
when was the
15
last
years
time they
ago.
had an election?
It was about 10 or
And when was the
15
last
years
time they
ago.
had an election? Never.
Yeah. Well, they know they had an election about 10, 15 years ago. Maybe 20 years at this point. And they voted
But
in
that's so
Hamas.
have they had anyone after that? No, they haven't.
Right. So why haven't they gotten rid of these guys? Why are they still letting these guys run around? Right? They constantly talk about genocide and all these things, and people are dying. Apparently not at the rate of getting rid of Hamas. All they'd have to do is turn the Hamas people over, get rid of them. All this ends with the people who are living large, even to this day, in their little bunkers, throwing missiles in Israel. If you get rid of those people instead of letting them fire them from your house,
That's fanatics for you.
you know. Now this story is Jensen wanted to do this story, so it's kind of unfortunate that he's not here for it. Trump to call Putin Zelensky as Russia kills 9 bus riders in the Ukraine. U.S. President Donald Trump said he will speak with his Russian and Ukrainian counterparts Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky and NATO officials on Monday in an effort to stop the war as Russia's pounding of the Ukraine continued Saturday. And they are pounding the Ukraine. All right, I mean, let's be honest about that. Trump said in a post on his social network, he will speak with Putin by phone at 10 a.m. on Monday and will speak with Zelensky and some NATO members after that. Just hours before the post, Russia deliberately attacked civilians in a drone attack on a bus in a border town of Bielopila, all right, in the Sumy region, leaving 9 people dead, Zelensky charged. All the deceased were civilians.
Are real things.
All the deceased were civilians, and the Russians could not have failed to understand what kind of vehicle they were targeting. If this was deliberately targeted civilians. Oh, so the Ukrainian soldiers have been driving these things back and forth to the front lines, right? To say that this was not, this was deliberately targeting people that they knew were civilians. First of all, could it have been? Yeah, it could have been. I'm not going to deny that. The Russians don't care about civilians, all right? That's the reality. The Ukrainians don't either, all right? Or you wouldn't be launching attacks that we're going to hit Moscow. You throw a missile up, and wherever in Moscow it hits, right? Now, they've been more, I'll be honest with you, they've been more accurate than the Palestinians have been, all right? In that several times they actually hit the Kremlin, right? So, got to give them credit for that, right? But at the same time, they've killed Russian civilians and don't seem to care. Okay, why is it that only everyone comes back with this crying about this stuff? Well, like I said, Russians could have been targeting, but if they used a drone to hit a moving target, most likely it was in an area that they were doing an operation. They saw movement and they shot it. That's what happens in wars. People tend to forget how many French citizens, French civilians in World War II were killed by the Americans and British forces after D-Day. Not intentionally, okay, but because they thought that they saw movement in a house somewhere, so when they went into the house, they shot up the house thinking that there was German soldiers in there, and it turns out to be just a family that was trying to hide.
What's the term they have for that? The fog of war.
Yeah, fog of war, friendly fire, right? What is the thing? Casualties. This is the casualties of war, right? This is the tragedy
Also
of war.
known as American Friendly Fire.
American Friendly Fire. You can look at it that way if you want. But it is part of the things that happened during the war. And if you talk about friendly fire with the Americans, during World War
No, it's
II,
just some-
during Operation Cobra, right, which was the breakout from Normandy, the B-25 bombers were ordered to hit an area that they successfully hit, all right? But in the process of doing that, wiped out an entire U.S. Army division.
Ooh, wow.
Okay,
wow.
Mhm.
Uh,
No,
like
reason I was thinking about
900
it,
infantry
what-
casualties of Americans were bombed.
Yikes.
Jesus.
And what's bad? That was day one. Day two, they did it again
Oh God.
because they had overrun because
Oh.
the American forces had overrun
What-
the area.
What was you saying about Palestine's accuracy of fire?
There's a difference between but it's a good point. Yes, casualties happen in war, and friendly fire isn't
Hmm.
all right as the thing goes.
Yeah.
But those
Yeah.
things happen; those are
Unavoidable.
tragedies. They
But-
were targeting.
You try to reduce
But-
it. You try to reduce it, but
Yeah.
it's going to eventually happen. It will happen eventually.
Well,
Mm.
Whether
if you
you want
want,
it to
it
happen
goes.
or not.
If you want to talk about things like the Revolutionary War, during the Revolutionary War, all right, in one of the battles in the South, Cornwallis ordered cannon fire, right, on a group of in an area where there were British troops fighting Americans to wipe out that entire area, all right, and killed as many British as he did American revolutionaries.
It's okay. I would aim a cannon at a Brit any day.
Mm.
This is the
Especially
British
Yorkie.
aiming at their own, in an area with their own people.
Love you too, Charlotte.
Feelings
Very
mutual.
useful. Yes.
Love you too, Charlotte. Love you too.
We'll do it at number 10 while Keir Starmer's still in it.
Right, but
Hmm.
was he intending
Hmm.
to kill? Was he intending to
God
kill his own people?
Yeah.
No. Okay, he was not intending to kill his own people. When the Americans troops lost their lives because of the B-25 bombing, but were they trying to kill Americans? No, they were trying to target something. They're trying to target the Germans, right? When the Israelis attack a house, what are they attacking the house for? Because there's civilians in there? No, they're attacking the house because Hamas was in there, right? Now,
Yeah.
it may kill civilians that are also in there, but they're targeting Hamas. When Hamas launches a raid on a concert, are they trying to kill Israeli soldiers, or are they just trying to kill Israelis as well, civilians that are partying at a concert?
Yes.
There is a distinct difference.
Yes. Difference. Yes.
All right, and it's
Very
a
big
difference in the mentality of the people. Now you can come
Indeed.
back and go, well, the
Yeah.
civilian is just as dead. Sure, they are, but if you're not trying to get
Oh.
rid of the mentality of I'm going to intentionally target civilians, then you'll never
Yeah.
have peace.
Indeed.
And the reason for that is because peace isn't the absence of conflict. Peace is the absence of threat.
Yeah.
And if it came down to me and Jensen, him having a gun and me having a cannon, I bet you I'd still lose.
That might be true, Zerardi. Okay.
Am I wrong?
No. Final two stories of the day, though. Let's get to them. The Thai police seized 2 smuggled baby orangutans from a car at a gas station in Bangkok. Police in Bangkok rescued 2 baby orangutans they said were going to be sold illegally in a seizure related to international efforts against the multi-billion-dollar illicit trade in wildlife. The orangutans were seized Wednesday when police with the Thailand Central Investigation Bureau arrested the alleged courier for the seller at a gas station in the north of the city, said police news release. It said that the animals were found in a plastic bucket. All right, and that the 47-year-old Thai suspect confessed that he had been hired to deliver them to a yet unidentified person. He was charged with possession of controlled wildlife without declaring possession to an officer. The orangutans are generally sold for 300,000 Thai baht, or around $9,000 each. Okay, now
Damn.
go ahead. Go ahead, Sharardi.
Oh, I was just thinking maybe I need to sell some monkeys.
I think you guys outlawed that back in the 1860s. Sorry, instinct took over.
Now I do have a question. Are the jungles in the Thailand area, do they have orangutans, or are orangutans? I thought they were just on those islands like Sumatra and stuff. Right? Am I wrong about that?
Well, no, the only orangutan we got in Britain is called Jeremy Clarkson. There you go.
Aside from its zoos and stuff, I thought orangutans were only on a couple of islands in like Papua New Guinea and Sumatra and stuff. All right. So the question that I have is,
it's one subspecies in Sumatra. There's a few others somewhere around Southeast Asia, but I don't know which parts specifically.
I'm just curious to where he got the baby orangutans and how come they didn't arrest this guy for smuggling orangutans to begin with. You see my point? How did these baby orangutans get to Thailand? You know, if they came from the island, they had to be smuggled in, right? Why aren't you charging the guy with smuggling?
Oh, we just lost Sharardi.
Oh, what a shame.
All right. I only have one more story of the day.
Yeah, back. You're like Beetlejuice.
And you'll see what the next story is in just a minute here.
Oh, good God. Run for your lives.
Zoo asks public to be on the lookout for an escaped capybara. A zoo in eastern China is asking for the public's help to locate an escaped capybara that has been on the loose for more than 40 days. Do you think it maybe been
Oh, God.
If it's on the loose in China, it's probably been fucking eaten.
That's what I was thinking.
I was about to say, if it was in China, it's probably more like on someone's menu list.
Or someone's barbecue.
The Yuan scenic area in the Yangtze City said 3 capybaras named Dubao, Beizong, and Dudu. Dao, or maybe that's how they pronounce it. All right. Escaped April 3rd when Beizong broke through the wood panel. Beizong and Dudao were quickly recaptured, but Dobao has managed to evade pursuit for weeks. Now, for those who don't know, capybaras are not small critters.
How do you lose a guinea pig the size of a fucking pit bull?
No, they're bigger than that.
They're supposed to be part of the guinea pig family, so
yeah, they're guinea pigs the size of like Dalmatians. No, I mean bigger than Dalmatians.
They're supposed to be part of the same family.
Yeah, they're a rodent, and what's worse is you were exactly right. They are edible. People do eat them.
Oh dear.
Okay. I mean, honestly, like, good luck with that, because I've seen pictures of them with fucking scars on because they've survived jaguar attacks.
Wow.
Yeah, they're tough creatures.
Yeah, pretty much any human without a gun would not be able to just survive a jaguar attack.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
Investigations indicate that Dao Dao carries no dangerous weapons.
Yeah, he is the dangerous weapon, for Christ's sakes. He is the dangerous weapon.
No, you say that he carries no dangerous weapons. What is he, a local mobster? What the hell?
Armed and dangerous.
Yeah, he wears dark sunglasses. He's part of the local mafia.
He made a deal with the Yakuza from Japan. He's got the tats in
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Former member of the Triad, the capybara. I was like, he carries no.
On his off day, he likes doing karaoke.
Little did you know, he was a courier for the Triad. He known to carry. Anything from drugs to weapons in their pursuit to take over the criminal element. Oh,
Oh, you can't make this shit up.
on a follow-up post, right, the current weather conditions in the area and local plant life have left zookeepers with no worries about Dao Dao's ability to survive on the loose. Because it's close to a canal and Dao Dao is an excellent swimmer, yeah, these things do swim, it's difficult to capture him, all right? We urge Dao Dao to surrender himself
No shit.
voluntarily.
No, it's difficult to capture. No shit.
And if it comes after, no boy can climb up a tree because he'll just gnaw that tree away.
The fact that you put in a link that says we urge the capybara to surrender himself voluntarily, or what?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Or die. Or
Come out
die.
with your paws up, baby.
But is this about to be a Ruby Ridge incident?
I don't know. It kind of hints at it, though, doesn't
My wife
it?
just gets shot by a sniper.
Oh, goodness me. It amazes me. You got a capybara on the loose. I mean, there's not small creatures. These are fairly large creatures. You'd think that people would be able to identify them.
It's the size of an average dog, isn't it, really?
Yeah, well, a larger dog, like a German Shepherd and things like that. They're about that size. They're not. They're not like your little.
I believe that's average. Large dog is the bloody St. Bernards. That's a fucking big dog.
Well,
I think they get to like. I think they get
That's
to
an
like
average
50 or 60 pounds or some shit like that.
No, they can.
I mean,
they can get up to close to 120
happened,
pounds, if I'm not mistaken. The capybaras can. They can get pretty large.
If this happened in America, I'd just send this creature in the direction of the Starbucks protesters.
The Starbucks protesters would adopt it. Are you kidding me?
And then get viciously mauled by it.
Right.
Well, let's be honest. In America, we have things like giving crack to spider monkeys. Okay.
Right.
We've got meth squirrels. We've got crack pipes to raccoons.
Hey.
Can you imagine what would happen to this poor
Oh
capybara?
yeah, I saw that. Crack pipes to raccoons. Jesus Christ.
I just remembered
Only in America.
in one of my old Pathfinder games, you could get capybaras as a pet, and they only cost like 1 gold each, so I just bought like 15 of them. And one time, like a human-sized spider tried to attack the party, and my 15 capybaras just immediately fucking swarmed it and ate it alive.
Nice.
Exactly. Well, okay, then we'll sit it loose near the Starbucks protesters. Fantastic.
Well, you laugh, but see, capybaras are not the thing that they would do it. And it surprises me in America we haven't done something that they've already done in South America. When they took care of Pablo Escobar, had a number. He had purchased a number of hippopotamuses. All right.
Oh yeah.
And they released them in one of the local rivers. Those few hippopotamuses have now become a breeding population. All right, in that river area. There are literally hundreds of them.
MC, I'm gonna have to drop up. My migraine's flaring up again.
Okay, dude. Take it easy. Keep yourself safe.
Take care, lad. Get some rest.
Take care, Sixer.
Yeah, but...
So, yeah, I'm surprised we haven't released the hippos in like a Florida swamps and everything, because they would thrive. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if you released them in the southern ports of like the Mississippi River and stuff, because they would thrive there.
Right.
I mean, I wonder how many meth heads in Florida would attempt to try and ride one like a horse.
Oh God.
It's got to happen at least once.
Yeah.
It would happen.
And I hope there's a camera there to film it.
I guarantee you it would happen. If those things eat kudzu, right? And I don't know if hippos eat
Yeah.
kudzu, right? But there's a huge kudzu problem
No.
in the southern states, all right, near rivers and things.
Right.
And I can see people being dumb enough to release these things, saying, "Okay, well they eat the kudzu, we'll just let them in there," because hippos are not meat eating animals. They basically are a herbivore, but they're a dangerous herbivore.
Right.
They're very territorial.
Right.
Right. I'm not
Right.
suggesting we
Yeah.
do something like that, but I can see us doing it.
Mm.
I really can.
I think
Mhm.
I think technically they're omnivores. Like they focus mainly on veg and stuff, but you know, if the opportunity for meat is available, it's going in his fucking mouth.
Like the human that swim in the river.
Hmm.
Look, a snack. But I don't think they
Indeed.
hunt fish or anything. Right? At least I haven't heard that. That would be, like I said, it would be
I
interesting
think
if they
it
got
should be too
released.
fast for them.
I think that these things would, if you put them in the Florida, if you released them in certain areas of Florida, they'd wipe out the manatee population. So I mean, it is what it is. The world is what it is. So, but that's the last
Indeed.
story for the day, guys, and so I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. Got any last words, anybody?
No, not for me.
Yeah, not really.
All right, thanks for coming out. That's the last story of the show. Hope you all have a good day, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye bye.